What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Bourbon and Bets. I am your host, Zach Stonerock, and joining me again today is my established, fantastic, top-of-the-line, world-class co-host, Mr. Avery Cunningham.
Oh, Zach, you know how to butter people up, man. Taylor is very lucky to have you, man.
Yeah, she is, isn't she?
Yes, I'd say so. But hey, as Tim Todd said in his best man speech, or I could have it backwards. As much as lucky as she is to have you, she's just as lucky as she is to have you. You're just as lucky to have her. Or you might say it backwards.
Hey, it's all right. Yeah, that was kind of a that was a brain buster for sure. There was a lot of moving pieces there.
Yeah, a lot of the same words. Yeah, all that. So
all good, man. But I agree. I am the lucky one in this relationship without question. So
absolutely.
Just like you are the lucky one in your relationship.
100%.
100%, man.
No arguments there. That's something we will agree on. We don't really agree on much. So.
Yeah, the women in our lives are better than we are. So
absolutely.
All right, let's go ahead and let's talk some football, man. So Thursday night, first NFL game of the season. A lot of people have a feeling that these two teams that are starting the season are going to be the two teams ending the season in the Super Bowl. This game, you know, the Bills ended up running away with it 31-10. The Bills really put on a dominant performance. And there's a lot of talk about the Rams not looking, you know, like the Super Bowl, defending Super Bowl champs that they are. I want to hear your take because I feel like a lot of people are getting ahead of themselves in this situation. You know, there's all this talk about these two teams could finish the season in the Super Bowl. So it's not like the Rams got beat by a slouch of a team in an organization. Josh Allen looked amazing. Stephon Diggs and him had a heck of a connection, as well as like Gabe Davis and McKenzie as well. There were some struggles on the Rams side, but what was your takeaways from that game on Thursday night?
You know, last year you can say that the Bills' one of their weaknesses was getting to the passer. Pretty much Von Miller fixed that overnight, and just you know, the growth of H.A. Penenza and Gregory Rousseau. So that and then the guy that got the interception, and his name is escaping me right now. But they just created havoc on Stafford all night. 7 sacks. D-line got an interception. It was just made it tough for him all night. Matt Stafford didn't really look all that great. Cooper Kupp, you know, he's Cooper Kupp, one of the best receivers in the game. But yeah, offense also looked really good. Jalen Ramsey had a couple plays where he played undisciplined football, and you know, you got beat over top, so that's what happens. But let's not overreact. It's week one. The Rams, you know, they never play their starters preseason, so it's not anything to overreact about. They'll be fine. You know, they got a great coach in Sean McVay. So great staff over there. They'll you know, go back in the lab, see what they did wrong. They'll come back and then they'll get better. But you know, as far as like improvements to go, they gotta protect Matt Stafford. Stafford gotta you gotta start making better decisions, making better throws. But yeah, they'll be fine. They were in the Super Bowl for a reason last year. You know, first week one, you know, the Bills lost to the Steelers, so. And everybody thought the Bills was going to be, you know, going to have a down year, but you know, they could have easily represented the AFC in the Super Bowl. So, it's not worth overreaction, but you know, just take notes of what happened and just go from there.
Yeah, I agree. I think, you know, as bad as the Rams looked with Stafford, you know, throwing all those interceptions. And I did look up the names of everyone who had those interceptions. So it was Boogie Basham, Jordan Poyer, and Dane Jackson. So
Boogie Basham was the other guy I was thinking of, like him and like Phillips, like they were all just causing havoc all night. So
yeah, I mean, the Rams did not look great I agree that Stafford didn't have a lot of protection. He also seemed to be holding the ball a little bit too long and not making, quick decisions. And obviously when you're watching the game, they don't have the camera showing the whole field. So I don't know if he's holding the ball due to coverage, which more than likely, I mean, the Bills defense was doing a great job in coverage. I just think he needs to be more confident in his decisions. It would be nice to see him getting some more time back there to make those decisions and process and read the defense. But I mean that Bills defense is solid. I mean, you're not going to get a lot of time with those guys when they're coming at you and rushing the ball. Von Miller definitely a huge addition. As you mentioned, they struggled last year with getting to the quarterback, and he instantly changed that, as you stated. I'm not worried about the Rams right now. My concern would be how they move forward. There's a huge emphasis on Cooper Kupp. He is the offense. I think it's pretty evident that team's going to go as he goes. However, we need to see Allen Robinson get more involved. Darrell Henderson surprised me as, being the lead back. Got the majority of the carries. Cam Akers was essentially non-existent, had 3 carries for 0 yards, which is disheartening because I picked him in a couple fantasy leagues.
Ours included.
Yeah, ours included. However, in ours,
if
I
you want
also
to trade
have.
him, just send him over. Send him over.
Hey, put together a package. Put together a package, and we can talk.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later. Even though you already declined one of my trade proposals.
Yeah, because I'm not giving you him for I'm not giving you Josh Allen for the Colts defense. But the thing that was crazy to me that I didn't know. So I knew going into this game that Sean McVay was 5-0 in Week 1 games. I didn't know that throughout his career as a head coach, he had never been below 500. That was crazy to me. And then just the fact that now this is the first time in his career he's been below 500. Granted, he's 0-1 against somebody who anyone can argue that the Bills could have been in the Super Bowl last year. Pending that a different outcome on the coin toss in overtime. Granted, never want to have a game come down to a coin toss. However, terrible way to lose a game. But Sean McVay is a genius when it comes to football, and I'm excited to see what type of adjustments he makes moving forward. I would love to see Allen Robinson more involved, and I would love to see Cam Akers get more carries in the backfield. For me, I'm questioning whether it was, hey, we're going to ease him back into it due to the fact that he was injured last year. I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see.
Yeah, but I mean, I think it was just injured. I think he was injured throughout like the preseason though, or because he came back from a torn Achilles in like 5-6 months, some insane like that. So I mean,
Right.
obviously the dude was healthy enough to play, and he was getting like a workload in the playoffs. So I guess I just think he was like just got banged up during preseason or something like that. But I'm sure as the season goes on, we're going to continue to see Cam Akers get more of a role in the offense.
Yeah, I hope so. I took him. I want to say I took him in like the
7th round,
6th or 7th round.
Yeah, 6th, 7th round, yeah,
somewhere around there. I would hate to waste a good draft pick on a guy that's not going to get any carries.
But hey, he'll get carries on my team.
Let's talk.
Okay.
Let's talk after this show.
All right.
But moving on, so obviously, so today's Saturday, we got a whole slate of college football games coming up. We'll talk a little bit about a parlay that I have for today at the end of the show. But as we've mentioned numerous times, our focus is NFL. It's what we are able to speak on more, obviously, in the college football world. There's over 100 Division I teams, well over 100 Division I teams to be able to talk about, whereas in the NFL, there's 32. So a little easier for us to dial in and I don't want to say be experts, but be able to speak to, all the teams a little more intelligently than what I'd be able to speak to Assumption University, who played in a college football game last night. Never even heard of them before that, but they also got smacked. But
but hey,
nothing against Assumption, but
you've been making like really good college football picks though. You've been like one pick away. The last 2 weeks? No, or last week you were one pick. Well, the 2 weeks ago, we got you hit that, and then was it last week where you're just one pick away? I think it was Virginia Tech in the Ohio or Old Dominion.
Yeah,
Where
Houston getting beat that
oh
one,
yeah, Houston as well. So we had the Friday and the
or
Saturday.
not covering. They won, but won by 2 because it came down to that stupid
That stupid
overtime rule.
over the new stupid overtime rule. Yeah, all I had to do was score a touchdown in the first overtime. Then we've been fine. But no, you've been pretty solid, pretty spot on so far.
Yeah, I mean it's felt good to be able to get so many correct. However, when you parlay them, you got to get them all correct, or else it means nothing.
Yep,
So
it means nothing.
yeah, it does make me feel good that I'm on the right track, though, right? So
yeah, exactly.
Definitely looking forward to those. And like I said, we'll lay that out at the end. But first Sunday of football, NFL football being fully back, we have a full slate of games. We're not going to go through all the games. We're just going to hit on the ones that we have in the NFL parlay for tomorrow. Kind of go through thought process there. I'll ask you if you agree. Let me know if I'm wrong, why I'm wrong. But then I also want to hear what your top 5 picks are. So I'm gonna have 5 picks. You'll have 5 picks. If any of them cross over, let me know also, and we can, talk about those games a little more in depth. But we'll kick things off. My first pick that's going to be in the parlay is I'm actually taking Baltimore -6.5 at the New York Jets. For this one here, Zach Wilson is projected to be out at least 3 or 4 weeks at this point. So he's definitely not starting this game. Joe Flacco is going to be in there. They're also missing their left tackle, Dwayne Brown. He's out as well. So I think with all of that and Mekhi Becton, I believe I'm saying his name correct there, he's on IR. So the fact that they put in effort to make this offensive line better, and then you have 2 of your key guys out, I think it's gonna be a disastrous day for the Jets. I honestly think 6.5 points is pretty low. I would be comfortable taking this spread up to probably 9 points for the Ravens there. Lamar Jackson wasn't able to come to terms on any contract extension. I don't think that's gonna matter much. Obviously he's still playing for that contract. If they do continue talks, or even if it gets pushed to next year. So I think he's going to really be hungry to show why he deserves that contract. So I see this game. I almost want to say that I don't know if the Jets are going to score. I think that this could be a shutout, maybe a field goal. I just think that Baltimore is ready to bounce back. I don't think Dobbins has officially been given the green light, or if he's going to be out yet. I don't think that they've actually made a decision. I think that's going to come down to game time, unless you've heard something else. But I see Mark Andrews having a huge game here, actually. Potentially 2 touchdowns, 2-touchdown game. They don't have Hollywood Brown there anymore, but they have Bateman. Correct?
Yeah, Rashad Bateman.
Yeah, Rashad Bateman. For whatever reason, I get him mixed up with guy from Arizona, just name wise. I don't. Okay. Forgive me. I can't even think of who I'm thinking of right now. So, but then also my guy Devin Duvernay. He's supposed to be coming in there. So you guys all know I was very high on him last year. I think he's going to come in, and I think he's going to be a big impact player that's kind of flying under the radar. So I'm excited to see what he's going to do. He's also back there as the return man again. So he's great back there.
Pro Bowl last year, right? Was he Pro Bowl? Was he a Pro Bowl as a return guy?
He was, yeah. He was a Pro Bowl return man. Yeah. Words are hard today. Clearly, my brain's not working yet, Avery.
Yeah, it's early. It's early.
9:20 a.m. It's not that early. I should be awake.
But hey, it's 6:20 in the West Coast right now. So,
I like the way you think.
Exactly.
So anyway, all that being said, I just rambled on. I'm taking Baltimore -6.5. What are your thoughts there?
I have Baltimore as well going 6.5. Pretty much for most of the reasons that you said. There, if you go expound a little further, they just drafted Breece Hall in the second round this year. They still got Michael Carter. Michael Carter splashed a little bit last year, but the Ravens defensive front, they only gave up 3.8 yards per carry. So I think that's going to be a struggle for them as well, especially for Brees Hall's first game. So I'm not really sure who's going to get the start there. I didn't really check the depth chart. But yeah, you're right. Most of the reasons, like you said, the Jets started, going to their third left tackle. I think they'll start another rookie somewhere on the O line too, and Max Mitchell, I believe is his name. So yeah, all those reasons, I have that pick as well. So we can move on.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty sure Brees Hall is the starting back in the backfield. Looking at the depth chart, but I do think Michael Carter is probably gonna get some carries as well. I had to look it up because I was like, am I crazy? Am I not thinking about the right name? Rondell Moore, for whatever reason, I always think he plays for the Ravens. Not an honest mistake, but that's the name I was thinking of in my head. Anyway, so you're taking the Ravens -6.5 also.
Yes.
Perfect. All right, let's move on to the next game. We got the Indianapolis Colts at the Houston Texans. Colts are favored by 7. I think this is a lock as well. Colts -7. I think Houston is going to be better than what people think that they're supposed to be. Obviously, Davis Mills came out last year and had a nice little run. Houston was still Houston. They didn't make the playoffs or anything like that, but I think Davis Mills really surprised the league. I think everyone wrote him off. I think when he was coming in to be the starter, everyone thought he was going to come in and be out, take that team 0-17. So I think Houston has a lot of talent at their skill positions. Dameon Pierce, as a running back, he's going to be the starting guy. Houston ended up cutting Marlon Mack. So behind Dameon Pierce, they have Rex Burkhead, and Dave. I'm sorry, not Dave. I'm going to butcher this guy's name, so I'm not even going to say it.
I know you talk about.
Yeah, I am not even going to try to do that and disrespect him. But Rex Burkhead is kind of that utility guy, so he's going to be more for like passing downs, different things like that. So I think Dameon Pierce is going to get a chance to really be the main back down there in Houston. They also have Brandon Cooks, who has kind of just been in the worst situation at all times. He's at these teams, has great seasons, but the rest of the team's just not quite there. They ship him out, and then the next year, these teams typically win Super Bowls. So, or a couple years later at least. But the person for the Texans I'm most excited to watch is Derek Stingley Jr. Back there at corner out of LSU. Just want to see how he does, how he adjusts to the game. All that being said, though, I think the Colts are just more well-rounded. Matt Ryan, is a huge upgrade at quarterback from what they had last year.
Easy with the huge. Continue.
Matt Ryan 5 years ago would be considered a huge upgrade, but right now, I think he's serviceable. I think we're in I think I mentioned it before, more of like a Peyton Manning type project when Peyton Manning went to the Broncos. The fact that the Colts have a solid defense and a good offensive line. Paris Campbell's back and healthy this year. I'm excited to see what Michael Pittman can do with a quarterback who's a little more accurate. And I mean, overall, Jonathan Taylor, I almost forgot about Jonathan Taylor there in the backfield, who is an absolute stud. We have Darius Leonard, who I had no idea goes by Shaquille Leonard now. He's out for this game, so that's going to be a big gap that they're going to have to fill. But I just think that the Colts overall are just a much better team. So I'm comfortable with Colts -7.5 here. I don't necessarily think this game is going to be a blowout. I don't see it being a super high scoring game. But I can definitely see this game ending up as like a 24-13 type game.
Yeah, I can see that. The divisional opponents, that's what makes it more interesting. And a division opponent in the division game at home was kind of what steered me off of taking this. But as far as like the talent goes, I definitely see where you're coming from. There's the Colts have more talent on their side as opposed to the Texans, who probably in like a 2, 3, 4, 5 year rebuild, whatever it is. And as far as and also Davis Mills was very good at home last year. So like you go back to like the games where he played the Patriots, the Patriots, against rookie QBs, they like is a daunting task for anybody. But he actually played really well against the Patriots last year. If you go back to that game, so that kind of just stirred me off. You just just division, like the division aspect. Davis Mills being a better quarterback at home. Him, being a year older now. I mean, I could see that pick going. I just wasn't as confident as you were.
Okay, hey, that's fair. My next pick, I'm actually taking the Saints -5.5 at the Falcons. Again, I just think that the Falcons are in a huge rebuild year. A lot of questions at quarterback, Marcus Mariota. It's crazy because you got these two guys who came into the league and they were drafted 1-2 together. And you can argue that both of them have had kind of big fall offs. Marcus Mariota, much bigger fall off than Jameis Winston for sure. Jameis Winston's been a starter in the league pretty much every year, with the exception of he came in when Drew Brees was still there, right? And backed him up.
Yeah, he was the backup for Drew Brees last year.
So, whereas Marcus Mariota has been sidelined for quite some time now. And I think, me personally, I think there's a huge opportunity for Desmond Ridder to come in and take over this team midway through the season if they're not doing well. But don't say it, man. Don't say it.
Continue.
And then also the Falcons are, there's a chance that their number one receiver, Drake London's going to be out. And they're, we all know they've already lost Calvin Ridley for the whole year. So I just don't think they're going to have the weapons there. Kyle Pitts is there at side end, but he was super inconsistent last year, would put up 20 fantasy points and then have one catch for 7 yards. So I just don't think that they have the talent. Whereas when you look at the other side of the ball, you got Jameis Winston there leading that offense. We got Alvin Kamara and Mark Ingram now backing him up again. So you got that 1-2 punch. Granted, Mark Ingram's not the Mark Ingram that was there last time they were together, but he's still got a lot of juice left in him. But then you have Chris Olave. Do we know if Michael Thomas is playing?
I think he's questionable. So I think it'll be more of a game time decision. I think he's having a hamstring issue, so those can always go either way. But if history repeats itself, I say he's out.
Okay. But then also just the Saints defense is better as well. So Tyrann Mathieu questionable, but I mean, overall, I just think the Saints have, top to bottom, their defense is better than what the Falcons have. So 5.5 points. I don't think that either of these teams, I'm going to say, I think these teams finish 3-4 in the NFC South. I see the Saints coming in third. I see the Falcons coming in last. And then Carolina and Tampa above both of them. So
yeah.
I don't know. So like, obviously that's somewhat of a homer statement, but I don't love Baker as a quarterback, and I don't want to get off on a tangent taken away from the pick, but Baker does add another dynamic to that team. And I could eat my words after tomorrow's games and Baker ends up being a dud, throws 6 interceptions, which he's capable of doing. But I do think that the team with Christian McCaffrey being back, Baker, who in my opinion is a better leader than what Sam Darnold is, I think that the team's in a good position, especially with a young, talented defense. That's all I'm going to say about the Panthers. But I do see the Panthers finishing the year better than the Saints.
That's a bold prediction there, buddy. But hey, no, what's as far as the talent, it kind of just goes back to the Houston, Indianapolis Colts. As far as the talent is, there's more talent on New Orleans side as opposed to Atlanta side. Not going to bet a home divisional game. Atlanta's at home. Atlanta plays New Orleans very tough. Kyle Pitts, I think he's going to have, a breakout year this year. He's probably he'll probably be the number one receiver, number one option. Until Drake London gets back, and even then, he'll probably still be it for the first couple of weeks. But yeah, I mean, as far as the talent goes, there's more talent on the New Orleans side. So I could see it definitely being, I wouldn't be surprised if they cover the spread. But just, the fact that Atlanta plays New Orleans tough, they still got they don't have a lot to hit home about, but their outside corners and Hayward and AJ Terrell, they're one of the better corner duos, in the league. That they're not going to get talked about enough because they play for the Atlanta Falcons. So I can see it happening, just not as convicted as you are.
Okay, so that's not on your list. That's good to know. I like when we when there's some contrast in our picks. So my next one that I have, there it is. Kansas City at Arizona. I'm actually taking the over in this one. This one I think is a good point total game. The over 53.5. I see both these teams putting up, big points. Chiefs historically have been a high scoring team. Granted, that offense looks different now. Patrick Mahomes still a quarterback, and Travis Kelce is still there. However, now you have Juju and MVS. You got Sky Moore there also, and Mecole Hardman's still there. So there's some familiar faces, but obviously Tyreek Hill's out of there now, and he was a big part of that offense. You got Clyde Edwards-Helaire back there in the backfield. I see this team being able to put up a lot of points, regardless of not having Tyreek there. But then on the other side of the ball, also, you got Kyler Murray, and now he has Hollywood Brown, who we talked about earlier, left from the Ravens. Deep threat. I'm not sold on Hollywood Brown. I don't think he's a bad receiver. I just don't think he's like game-changing type receiver.
Do you think he was worth a first-round pick? Because Arizona traded their first-round pick to get him.
No, I don't think so. Do you?
I don't know. I mean, I guess it's just what the going rate for like wide receivers is. But me personally, I wouldn't have traded a first-rounder. But as Ravens, you can't say no to that. I think that's good value. So
absolutely. And then we got my guy Rondale Moore, who I was mentioning earlier, but for the wrong team or thinking about for the wrong.
Rondale's not playing this game.
Is he? Oh, he is out. Good call. Good call. Which then, I mean, I guess that adds another dynamic. Like you got AJ Green, and then I guess does Andy Isabella fill in at that third slot?
Yeah, I'm not sure who's going to take. So I guess he's still on the team. He was on the bubble for a little bit, and then I was wondering about Wesley too. I know he was hurt, but I didn't
IR.
Oh, he's on IR. Okay.
Yeah.
So, I'm not sure outside of Brown and Isabella, AJ Green, who else the receivers are. And then I don't know if Zach Ertz is playing either.
Greg Dortch.
Okay.
Out of Wake Forest.
Okay.
And then Zach Ertz. He's still listed as questionable. I don't know if we have an official word. I think that's going to be one of those that the decision's made at game time.
Okay.
And then obviously you got James Conner in the backfield too. So I think Kyler Murray gives your team a boost and gives you the opportunity to score points just because of what he brings to the team, being a dual threat. So I think Arizona is going to be able to score some points here also. So I think 53.5, I see this game and, probably with the Chiefs scoring in the 30s, we'll say 34. I could see the Cardinals putting up at least 21. So I'm pretty confident in the over here.
I'm not as confident. Just like kind of just the reasons we said. The Arizona's, they've got to have some guys missing, as well as this is going to be the Chiefs' first full game, together. So, I know they've been working a lot. They've actually, their first team actually got reps in the preseason. So that may come eat me in the face later. I may have to eat my words later on that, but just there's like so many new pieces. Being the first game, I think it may take a little while to gel. So, and on the other side of the ball, obviously you got Kyler Murray, who's legit. But they got some guys missing on in the receiving room. And also if Zach Ertz missed, they might have to go with the rookie Trey McBride there. I'm not sure who's backing him up. So yeah, and then Kansas City's defense. They can be. I mean, towards the end of the season last year, they were tough. They got better. As the beginning of the season, it was a struggle. Also they lost, Tyrann Mathieu. They got might have some new corners, starting. So I can see it going either way, but I would probably lean towards the under.
Sounds like Amari doesn't like your pick, is what it sounds like to me.
Amari's hungry, but yeah, she's eating. Wife, as we spoke about, she, they're
holding down the household, man.
Holding it down. So yeah, she's in the background there. So
nah, she's great. I like when she doesn't like your picks.
Well, she didn't like your picks last year. You went against our Bengals, last year. She let you know about it.
She sure did. She sure did. Did you so were you taking the under on this game, or did you have a pick in this game for your main picks?
I didn't pick this game, but I am going with the under. If I had to choose, I'll do. And what's the spread? Was it 5.5?
Let me take a look because I didn't write that down. Let's see here. I want to say 5.5 sounds right, but let me get this to pull up. Takes so long to get through everything. 5.5, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I would say 28-20. Yeah, that's what I think it was scored to be. So
Chiefs?
I'll go with that. Yep, Chiefs. So
Okay.
I mean, I would say I think Chiefs would go cover. Well, I'm going with the under.
Okay, fair enough. And then I guess my last pick before we dive into yours is the Raiders at the Chargers. I'm taking the over in this one of 52. I think both these teams have high-powered offenses. We spoke about it pretty heavy in our last episode, but I just feel like the Chargers have a ton of weapons on offense. And then when you look on the other side of the ball, the Chargers also have huge weapons on offense as well. I think both these teams have decent defenses. Chargers, I think, have a great defense for sure. And I don't think the Raiders have a bad defense by any means. But I just think these offenses are so high-powered. I think Josh McDaniels, being the play caller that he is, he's going to come out and he's going to make Devontae Adams and Derek Carr have instant impact. I feel like he's going to come out probably taking some deep shots. But then Hunter Renfrow is also a monster. Josh Jacobs is finally securing his role back there, I feel like. But then on the other side of the ball, like Eckler, Allen, Williams, I think they're all going to have big games as well. So I see this being a scoring fest, where we could see both these teams score over 30 points.
Yep, I had that pick as well. I was more confident as J.C. Jackson is not going to play in this game. So I think Asante Samuel Jr. is going to be the corner. I wonder who's going to guard Devontae Adams. Yeah, I also have the over here. Both offenses being high powered. I'm not sure, is Darren Waller going to play? I didn't check on that.
Let me check real quick. Yeah, he actually. I'm sorry, that came out yesterday that he's not on the injury report anymore. So
okay.
So he'll be playing, and I actually think. Yeah, so they had Asante Samuel Jr. starting regardless of J.C. Jackson. So yeah, I can see him probably being matched up with Adams. And I'm not as familiar with these other guys, and you might be, but they got Michael Davis and they have Bryce Callahan. Bryce Callahan sounds more familiar to me than Michael Davis. So I don't know what your thoughts are on, either of those guys stepping in and being able to, obviously they're not going to be able to be JC Jackson, but how well they're going to be able to step in and fill that hole.
I mean, it's a tough ask. I think I want to say they're like Gus Bradley's their defensive coordinator?
Your guess is as good as mine here.
Because I know that I think he's more of a zone guy. So I'm sure they'll run some man as well. But I mean, especially when you got Bosa and Khalil Mack bringing pressure. So you should be able to run man. Got to get the ball out quick. So yeah, Hunter Renfro is still going to be a tough ask. Covering 1-on-1, as obviously Adams is too. But Renfro is one of the better route runners in the league.
Gus Bradley was actually their D coordinator from 2017 to 2020. Now it's Ronaldo Hill.
Wow, I was 2 years off. That's terrible.
I had no idea either way. So,
but yeah, that's okay. So I guess he was in the old regime. Okay, that makes sense. All right. Well, not really too familiar with Ronaldo Hill. But yeah, it's going to be a tough ask, to cover everybody. Josh McDaniels, being the play caller now. So I could see this definitely going over. That was one of my picks as well.
Okay, cool. So that wraps up my picks. Before we jump into yours, obviously I parlayed these. With these being in a parlay, it came in at plus 2,435. So if you were to bet 100, you would get $2,435 in a payout. I don't know why. Again, words are hard this morning.
For sure.
But so that's what I got. And so we've heard two of your picks. You also have Baltimore minus 6.5, and you have the Chargers over 52. I'm intrigued to see what these other three picks are.
All right. I have the Panthers plus 1.5 over the Browns. I wasn't too sure about this at first, but Greedy Williams going to miss the game. So I think that's going to be big. So pretty much, Greg Newsome is going to be covering DJ Moore. So it's a little bit of a drop off. Greg Newsome, I did like him out of Northwestern. I think this game is going to be a low scoring game, maybe 20-17, something along those lines. So I can see the Panthers, pulling that out. Until the Browns offense, they got to get reps. Just got to get going. With the Panthers having one of the more underrated defenses last year, which I'm pretty sure why you have them second in the NFC South. Either that or you're deranged. I'm not sure yet, but we'll see. That's why we play the game. My other pick.
Hold on. I just want to take a moment and just appreciate the fact that you are rolling with the Panthers. Thank you for that.
Hey, just unlike you, Zach, I don't let my emotions, go on the paper. I use facts. I use the eye test, and I'll use my emotions. Okay.
All right. For this game, though, if I'm not mistaken, at one point the Panthers were favored by 2.
I think it also just depends on the site too.
Gotcha.
Some sites may have the Browns favorite, but and some sites may have the Panthers favorite. But last I checked, they were like 1.5 points favorite. So
no, I mean that's what they're still currently at. But I'm pretty sure that when it opened, the Panthers were favored. So for me, and I agree with your pick. I just last year I didn't do it where I set a rule for myself not to bet on the Panthers because there's too many emotions involved. But I was looking at this game. So I was like, oh, Panthers -2. Like that's what I kind of had it at. And, it's kind of what you have it at, winning by a field goal. I just don't know what would have changed to shift that line to where the Browns are now favored by 1.5. So I don't know, just questions there. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I didn't see that, but I'm pretty positive I did.
I'm not sure. I'm sure like maybe they were favored when everybody thought, Deshaun Watson was going to play. But then I think it's probably just kind of just swayed back and forth. It's just a lot of activity, with Baker Mayfield getting traded over to him. So I think probably just, there's just a lot of information that was just, that played into this. So it will be interesting,
Yeah, and I mean, I think a big question in this game too is Jacoby Brissett. How's he going to play?
Right.
New team. He's been here before. He's had to step in these roles, but I'm interested to see how this game plays out. I do think the Panthers win this game. Again, I agree by about 3 points, but please go ahead with your next pick.
All right. So other pick I had, I also had the Minnesota Vikings, 1.5 plus 1.5 over the Packers. The Packers with Alan Lazard potentially not playing. So this is going to be two evenly matched teams going against each other. It's going to be a completely new look for the Packers with two of their top receivers not playing in this game. Obviously, Devontae Adams is with the Raiders now, and Alan Lazard potentially not playing. So I'm going with the Vikings here. Divisional opponent at home. Beat them last year, so I can see that happening again this year. I know Green Bay made some improvements on defense, and the Vikings got a new head coach. They still got weapons in Dalvin Cook, Justin Jefferson, their whole receiving core. Can we also talk about Jalen Reagor here for a second? Getting traded after he was drafted before Justin Jefferson, getting traded to the Vikings. I don't know what type of role he's going to play, and then they say Carson Wentz is a bad quarterback when they're giving him people like Jalen Reagor. But anyway,
Jalen Reagor got laughed at by the Vikings front office, and why can I not think of the coach's name from last year?
Zimmerman.
Yeah, Mike Zimmerman. Like as a player, I mean, obviously, like you can move past stuff like that, but coming into a team where people just laughed at the fact that you were picked before Justin Jefferson, like that's got to be tough. And maybe, and it's the internet, right? Like maybe that's not what they were laughing at. Maybe they were laughing at the fact that Justin Jefferson was still available when they got their pick. But yeah, that's interesting to me. And you've been high on Jalen Reagor, I think, since he came in the league, right? Or no?
I gave him the benefit of the doubt only because the GM and the head coach that he was going to. That's the only reason. Like, I did not agree with that pick, but I did accept it. I was okay with it because, how, because of Douglas, like what they've built, beforehand, being Super Bowl champs. I didn't question it, but I didn't necessarily agree with the pick. I thought they should have picked Justin Jefferson, and now look at him. He may be the number one receiver in fantasy football this year. I don't know. But that's just crazy to me. But that has nothing to do with this pick. But I just thought that was
it's good side conversation.
It's provocative. It keeps the people going.
I like this pick, Vikings plus 1.5, because of what you mentioned. Devontae Adams isn't there. Alan Lazard's out. Aaron Rodgers has a bunch of young guys to throw the ball to now. I don't know. What they're ultimately going to look like this year. Obviously, they have two really good running backs, but the reason why that team's been good is because of Rodgers' connections with his receivers. So we'll see how that chemistry plays out. But I do like the Vikings and the talent that they do have on the field. So where was this game at? Is it at Minnesota?
Yes, at Minnesota.
Yeah, I mean, with it being a home game too, surprising to me that the Vikings are an underdog here. So good pick. I didn't have it in mind, but I do believe that's a solid pick.
Yeah, even though it's a divisional game, usually try to stray from those, but I'm just real convicted with this one. So yeah, that's what I'm going with. And for my last pick, to my chagrin, I got the Jacksonville Jaguars 2.5 points over the Washington Commanders.
Are they favored by 2.5? Or are they underdogs? They're underdogs,
yeah,
right?
Plus 2.5 over the Commanders.
I like that pick too.
I bet you do. But with Dougie P was Carson Wentz head coach at the Eagles, so he knows that he's going to know that quarterback probably better than most. With you know, so they probably knows his strengths and weaknesses. So he probably knows how to stop him. And with some of the improvements that the Jaguars made this year, especially in the draft, they had a sneaky good draft this year, especially in the first round, taking Floyd out of Utah, that linebacker, kind of sideline to sideline guy, and also Trayvon Walker. I know he was like the least. He has to be like the least talked about number one pick of all time. Of all time. Like,
had a sack in his first preseason game though.
Yeah, he showed explosion. I'm not sure if he's like atop of the depth chart, but he's definitely going to get some work in there. They still got Josh Allen, not the quarterback that everybody knows and love. He was pretty good last year. So see if he's still a young guy. See if he can make it. See if he can make another jump. And then on the other side of the ball, you got Trevor Lawrence, year 2 with Dougie P. We all seen what Dougie P did with Carson Wentz in year 2 until he tore his ACL. So he got that going for him. Christian Kirk. He's going to be throwing to Christian Kirk.
That Christian Kirk, I think, is going to have a huge year.
Huge year. We'll see. He was heavily targeted in preseason when they was playing. They also got Zay Jones and Marvin Jones, who obviously every year has this absurd amount of touchdowns. Like it happens every year for whatever reason. And then the tight end room, they got Evan Ingram. We can see if he can finally get something together. First round pick out of the Giants. So maybe, who knows? Maybe you just had to leave Danny Dimes. But yeah, I do like this. I do like this game. Chase Young is obviously going to be out. So the offensive line is decent for the Jaguars. So I could see them winning this game. So I'm taking the 2.5 points, and I will say I could see the Jaguars maybe competing for second place in the AFC South division this year.
Okay. I mean, for the win totals, I would choose the over for Jacksonville. With the huge upgrade from Dougie P to Urban Meyer. So I don't know. Yeah. Fortunately, I got that pick. So I think this is going to be a low scoring game though. Okay. I like those 3 underdog picks. Looking at I like all of your picks. That would be a 5 that I would also put on my radar. Looking at your picks though, if you were to parlay all those, that would come in at plus 2,493. So slightly higher payout than mine even, but I like that. I think that there's a good chance that both of us could go 5-0 this week. It's going to be an ongoing thing throughout the season. So we're going to see, at the end of the year who had the better picks throughout the year and who was more successful. Ultimately, our goal is for both of us to be as successful as possible and win as much money as possible. But it's good to get 2 different perspectives on this. So I do want to take a look at this real quick. Since you have so many underdog picks, I want to see what it would be if you were to parlay just those 3.
Yeah. I'll also be interested to see like if I just go money line for those picks too.
So that's what I'm looking at here. So if you were to go money line for those 3, it's not huge odds because the Vikings and the Panthers are still at minus. So like they didn't flip over to the plus side of things. Carolina, the odds for them to win outright minus 104, and the Vikings are minus 102. So the odds makers think that there's a chance that either of those teams could pull out a win here, and it wouldn't really shock the world, right? Which is kind of what we've mentioned so far. Whereas the Jaguars are actually plus 124. So the three leg parlay would be a plus 770. So bet 100, win 770. Not a bad return on your investment. Or if the units that you like to bet are a little bit smaller, if you were to bet $10, you get $77 back. So I think those are both good payouts for solid picks, right? So I think I like our picks. I know you disagreed with a couple of mine. But even with that, I mean, I think we're going to have a good Sunday of football. I think we could both come out with pretty high win totals here. Anything else you want to talk about with the NFL before I run through the college football parlay that I have?
I don't have anything. I think we covered a lot today. So I mean, as far as like just like what to expect this week. So I don't really have anything.
Okay.
What about you?
I got nothing else, man. I think that we just hit on all the big games and the games that everyone's excited about and looking forward to. The other the Monday night game with Denver at Seattle. I don't think that's going to be much of a game at all. I think Denver's going to run away with that one. I'm excited to see.
No, I mean it's still Pete Carroll. I mean, he's still a defensive minded coach. He knows the quarterback. So I won't say it's going to be. He's just going to be a runaway escape, but I mean, I do expect Denver to win. With the improvements they made.
Yeah, the thing, like, regardless of the outcome of that game, like I'm not heavily invested in the outcome of that game at all. But I am excited to see how Russell Wilson operates with his new receivers, Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy. So I think I know you had mentioned earlier that Justin Jefferson could be the number one, fantasy receiver in the league. I believe that's what you said. I have strong feelings that it's going to be Cortland Sutton. And I know you just traded him away in fantasy. So that's what hurts the most.
Yeah.
Or a bag of chips.
Wow.
For a backup running back. It wasn't a
bag of chips. Hold on.
For a backup running back. And a
1A, 1B.
Okay, for a 1B running back is what you traded him away for.
No, and a guy that could, if he gets the same target, Rashad Bateman.
I don't even know what team he plays for. Apparently,
Rashad. Yeah, you think he's with the Cardinals, but if he got the same target share as Marquise Brown did, we'll see what happens.
Hey. We'll see what happens.
I did need another number 2 running back, and I was going to pick AJ Dillon before Trevor sniped me. So, it worked out. I'm a little higher on AJ Dillon than you are, as I see.
I like AJ Dillon, but I just don't. I picked him up in a few underdog leagues, best ball leagues, but I would have kept Cortland Sutton.
Hey, since we're on Cortland Sutton. Let's talk about player props. So what's his touchdown total this year?
Let's take a look. Catch me off guard, but we'll figure this out.
Yeah, it might take a little while to look, find that, but
no, you're fine. Player prop. Let's see here. It's loading.
I'm gonna go get my dog. She's going crazy.
I'm actually not seeing, at least on this app I'm looking at, no free ads. I'm not seeing a total. I'm seeing whether he's going to have the most or not. Let's see. Yeah, they just have it as, you can bet on, whether they're going to have 6+, 8+, 10+, 12+, or whether they're going to have the most in the league. Let's take a look at receiving touchdowns. Man, they got him pretty far down this list. He's at plus 5,000 for leading the league. I never said he's going to lead the league in touchdowns, but I think he is going to lead the league and just overall fantasy points for receivers.
But hey, for plus 5,000,
I'd throw a little bit at it.
Yeah, I'd play that for sure.
Let's see here. What was I? Oh, we were going to talk about the college parlay here. So let's go ahead and jump into that. Do you feel pretty good about what we talked about with the Broncos? Can we move on?
Yes.
All right. Cool.
Even though I see you disagree with the trade, so but it's okay.
Hey, those things happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
We don't have to agree on everything.
Nope. But if Trevor wins the league, I'm pretty sure you'll drop.
I'll remember this forever.
Top 8 on MySpace. So
Yeah, I'm kicking you straight out. I'm gonna leave you at 8, but I'm gonna lower my top friends to 6.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
um, all right. So for NCAA football, I'm just gonna run through this real quick. And again, this is all there's not as much analytic that goes into this. This is more so, what I've seen, last week, how they're playing, and then just how they play historically against these teams. So North Carolina at Georgia State. I'm taking North Carolina -7 here. North Carolina puts up a lot of points. Georgia State's surprisingly not a bad team. They play a lot of teams tough, but I see UNC just putting up too many points for Georgia State to keep up, and I think that they're going to have a gap of more than 7 points there. I can see this game being at least a 14-point game, honestly.
Interesting enough, though, they lost to South Carolina in a bizarre fashion. They had two punt blocks for touchdowns, but they also outgained South Carolina. Their quarterback now is Spencer Rattler, if you remember, who was at Oklahoma. Lost his job to Caleb Williams, who's at USC now. So that pick is interesting. I could see it going that way, but I wouldn't be surprised if Georgia State competes and it's a field goal game and it's at Georgia State. So we see what happened when North Carolina was at another Sun Belt Conference stadium. So that game was just completely
that was insane. 60, that game was 62 points or something like that scored in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and then Appalachian State scored 40 of them. So I don't know. I mean, if they got any defensive coordinators there, they're just running wild. I'm not sure if they're playing with 10 guys on defense, what's going on. But yeah, I mean, I do like that pick. I also didn't make that pick, but I mean, it's just something to think about when it comes to Georgia State.
Yeah. I got Notre Dame -20.5 against Marshall. Last year, Marshall was very frustrating from a sports betting standpoint because they'd have games where they would just go off and score a ton, and there's other games where they just felt like they weren't even showing up. So I think Notre Dame, what we saw against Ohio State, I think that they have the weapons, and I think that they're gonna be hungry after losing to Ohio State. So I think that they're looking to make a statement. I like Marcus Freeman. I like kind of his style. So I think he's going to have this team ready, and for them to be able to have a chance at the college football playoffs, they're going to have to win games big, and they're going to have to win them impressively. So I think knowing that, I could see them winning by 21. I don't want to say with no problem because that's a big spread regardless, but I just think from a power standpoint, like they're a more powerful team than what Marshall is.
Yeah, I can see that. I didn't watch the game actually last week because I was at the Boys II Men concert with the wifey
at the Zucchini Festival.
Yeah, the Zucchini Festival, or Zucchini Fest. It was a good time. Brandon really enjoyed herself. It was a good time.
That statement just summarizes Ohio in general. The Boys II Men at the Zucchini Fest.
At the Zucchini Fest. That definitely does tell you a lot about Ohio.
Yeah. Next pick, I have the Florida Gators -6 against Kentucky. I know Kentucky, I think something just came out about their starting running backs actually not going to be playing. Some investigation going on with the NCAA. I don't know much about it, admittedly, but I'm pretty sure he's out. And Florida just looked really good last week.
It definitely didn't look good last year.
Yeah, but last week playing against Utah, winning the game there at the end. Utah's a good team, and the fact that Florida was able to pull that win off, I think Utah's a much better team than what Kentucky is. So I think Florida wins this game by at least a touchdown.
Yeah, I can see that happening. It's one of those big rivalries. Kentucky really doesn't like Florida. Florida doesn't really care because they're Florida, and then Kentucky's a basketball school. So, I can see Kentucky maybe in the first half, being on fire, and then just the talent just overtaking them later in the game.
Yeah. Next game, this is one that I want to say I'm less confident in, but I still think has a really good chance of hitting. I got Appalachian State and Texas A&M. I got the over of 54 here. Just what we saw in the fourth quarter with the UNC game, and Texas A&M's not UNC. But the fact that Appalachian State was able to put up 40 points in a quarter is very telling that they have the capability of scoring points. I think they have a good offense, and Texas A&M is going to put up points too. without, I may be speaking out of line here, but I want to say that they put up like 51 points last week or something like that. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
So both these teams scored a good amount of points last week.
Yeah, I don't remember. I know they scored a lot of points. I don't remember how much they scored as far as Texas A&M goes. But I could definitely see this going over if Appalachian State, performs like they did last week.
31 points.
31.
31, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, a little different.
Yeah, a little different. But still, I mean, still a fair amount of points. But Texas A&M is gonna have a better defense. Did have a number 1 recruiting class in the country last year, so I'm not sure if you're gonna be able to watch the game or where the game is gonna be broadcast at. But I mean, it would probably be nice to see what those freshmen do if they're playing.
Yeah. I'm excited to see what Texas A&M can put together this year, because I know last year they were projected to be really good and kind of had to fall off, but I think they have a shot of making the college football playoff this year.
Yeah,
I think so.
Well, they are in the same conference as Alabama, who's going to. I'm pretty sure they're in the same division as Alabama, and Alabama is going to be double-digit favorites in every game this year. So.
Well, yeah, I guess, and that's my mistake. I'm thinking about is the playoff 4 teams this year, or have they expanded it already?
Yeah, it's 4 teams this year.
Okay, so that's my mistake. Then I was thinking that we had already expanded. I know they're talking about expanding to 12. So
yeah, I think that's like either next year or 2024.
Gotcha. So that on me.
Yeah.
Mistake.
I was like, whoa, you really, you're really convicted on this one. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think that they beat out Alabama for that spot. And you'll like this pick. South Alabama at Central Michigan. I'm taking Central Michigan -5. The fact that Central Michigan made a nice little run last week in an effort to come back. It fell short, but I think that they show that they have the capability of scoring points. Admittedly, know nothing about South Alabama at all. But I know
I don't really know much about it.
Yeah, so I like Central Michigan. I think it's a solid pick there.
Yeah, Daniel Richardson was the MAC West or MAC Player of the Week last week. The game should have been closer if they woke up in that first half. They was kind of sleepwalking. Spencer Sanders kind of went wild in that first half. I think he scored 5 or 6 touchdowns in the first half. Then they woke up, started defending a little bit. Start scoring. So yeah, I could definitely see the Central covering the spread.
Yeah. Since you mentioned Sanders from last week, because they played Oklahoma State, I was trying to remember who they played. I actually have Oklahoma State -11.5 against Arizona State. I just liked what I saw out of them last week. Sanders, I think, looked really good back there at quarterback. So I know 11.5 is a lot of points. Admittedly, again, I don't know much about Arizona State's team this year, but just from what I saw last week is really what I'm basing that pick off of.
Yeah, you could tell that the defense may have taken the hit with the defensive coordinator being what's his name, Alex Grouch, I want to say. Alex, I know it was his first name. I can't think of his last name, but he's with Ohio State this year. Okay. So with Central putting up 44 points on them, you could tell that they took in the hit on the defensive side of the ball, and also Rodrigo. If you've been watching Hard Knocks, they got with the Detroit Lions, so we had a couple big losses on the defensive side of the ball, and they had a couple guys drafted later rounds. Malcolm Rodriguez being one of them. For the people that watch Hard Knocks. So there's probably going to be a little adjustment period there. And then with Arizona State, I know their quarterback Daniels, who's now with LSU. That game was whatever. The game against Florida State. So that was interesting. I'm not really sure who's the quarterback is right now. But I could definitely see Oklahoma State, covering. Even though they didn't cover last week, which I should have put money on that, but I did.
Hey, it's a big miss, man. That's one of those things where because you played for Central Michigan, sometimes it's tough because of the emotion involved with it, right?
Right.
Last 2 picks here. I got USC Trojans -8 against Stanford at Stanford. I'm high on USC this year. I have them actually winning the Pac-12. I think that they're, overall just a really solid team. And as you mentioned, they got Caleb Williams who transferred in. So, I mean, I don't know, again, admittedly, not a huge college football analyst here, but I don't know much about Stanford. I know Stanford is historically just a tough team that at any given Saturday, they could knock off any team. But I just think USC is playing good football right now, where I think that they pull this game off by about 10 points.
Yeah, I could see that. What scares me is that Stanford usually plays USC tough. They have a different. I mean, if they're like you said, I'm not as familiar with Stanford. Back in the day, years past, they're a big power team. So I'm not sure if they're that same team now with that style of play that can be problematic for a team like USC. Probably not, not as tough. Not as tough on defense right now. But they do got a lot of splash, a lot of sizzle with Caleb Williams, Jordan Addison transferred from Pitt, who was a Bolitnikov winner last year. Is with USC right now. So they scored a touchdown. I wasn't really too sure on what the stats were looking like. So they got a lot of sizzle on offense. The 8.5 points, I wouldn't do it, but I can see why with the talent with the talent, more talent on the USC side, why you would make that pick.
Man, you just almost talked me out of it, but it's already placed. So,
well, hey, you have your convictions, I have mine. So,
again, my convictions are just based off me figuring out some formula in my head.
Hey, proprietary. One day it's going to be worth a lot of money, especially if you make a lot of money.
Hey, if I can figure out how to put it on paper, actually how to make it make sense, yes. Last pick here. We got the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors at the Michigan Wolverines. This game here, I'm taking the under of 66.5, strictly because I don't think Hawaii scores a point.
Gotcha. I would take the over just because Michigan is just known to run the score up. So I would take the over on that.
What are your thoughts on JJ McCarthy this week getting the start?
You know what? He's more mobile. He's a more mobile option. So we'll see what happens. If he plays good, with the mobile aspect to his game, he may get the start for the rest of the season. So I'm not really sure what the quarterback situation. I don't even think Harbaugh knows what the quarterback situation is. So we'll see what happens. We'll see how he does today. But I'm sure he'll put up numbers since we're going against Hawaii, who came and beat the bottom of the barrel team in Vanderbilt. Not bottom of the barrel of the SEC.
Okay, I was about to say because Vanderbilt can still beat a lot of other teams in the country.
Yeah, for sure. But they'll finish last in the back.
Okay. Let me see here. I got to figure out what these actual odds are because they're not listed on this payout here.
And also, while you're looking at that, I got one. Washington State plus 17.5 at Wisconsin. Cameron Ward.
Okay.
I talked about you, a couple episodes earlier. Cameron Ward. It's go time. It's go time. Y'all struggled a little bit against Idaho last week. So, hey, man. And you're going against a tough, probably arguably one of the best defensive coordinators in the country in Jim Leonard. So hey, it's like talks you up, time to ball out.
You might be one of the most knowledgeable people when it comes to defensive coordinators just across all levels of football.
Well, I mean, you just take a look at what he did. He's had his track has been really fast. Like his first year, he was a defensive backs coach, and then whatever happened to the defensive coordinator or whatever, then he replaced him, and then they just kind of just been taken off ever since. Like they got a lot of nice concepts, but they're just a tough team. So, but they're not going to see a passing attack like Washington State's, in the Big Ten, unless it's Ohio State in a healthy, Jackson and Jigba. So yeah, that's why I like Washington State at 17.5, and got conviction in Cameron Ward. So.
Okay, I like it, man. I mean, I'm not gonna bet it, but I'm pulling for him just because that's your pick, and I have no skin in the game. on that parlay that I just ran through, though, huge odds here, huge odds. And this is one of those like far out, big boy parlays that we always talk about. We got plus 33,585. So if you were to bet 100, that's what your payout would be. If you bet $10, you get $3,358.50. So I like all the picks. I would love to hit this, huge payout for us. But we understand that having, this many legs on a parlay makes it a lot more difficult. So 9-leg parlay is very challenging to hit, but if we could hit it, that'd be great. Looking forward to a full Saturday games, a full Sunday of NFL football. Avery, thank you again, man, for jumping on here with me. It's always a pleasure, always an honor to have you on the show. Again, I really appreciate Amari in the background disagreeing with some of your picks. That's probably one of my favorite things in the world. She's the best. And looking forward to chatting a little bit more, next week when we see, how these results play out. I'll also be posting a combined parlay on our Instagram page that combines some of my favorite picks from the NFL parlay and the college parlay, and seeing how that one turns out for us as well. That was another big payout.
Hey, Zach, really quick, before Brandy, beats me up, who do you have winning the WNBA finals? Chicago Sky versus the Connecticut Suns versus the Las Vegas Aces.
Yeah, I knew that's who was playing. I'm gonna go with the Aces. When I look at them and just their defensive prowess, out there on the court, I just like much better ball movement when it comes to players. They have them, we're going with the Aces here.
Okay, I'm going with the Aces too. Asia Wilson is going to be a little bit too much to handle. I mean, you got Chelsea Gray there. A little bit more offensive prowess on Las Vegas Aces side as opposed to the Suns. They got some people that can score, but Las Vegas is maybe a little bit too much for them. The Suns, they do play really good defense as well. But Asia Wilson, MVP, favorite for a reason. So that's who I'm going with.
Yeah, and I mean, you got to go Vegas over Connecticut because Vegas is just a much better town in general. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that game. I'm gonna tune in. Anyway,
sorry, I'm sorry, but remember from our last conversation after one of our podcasts, she got on us about that. So
yeah. No, WNBA is it's exciting stuff. I'm looking forward to the championship.
All right,
man. Well, that's gonna wrap up the show. For the listeners and watchers out there, do us a favor, like, subscribe, comment. Share your picks, share your locks with us. We're hoping everyone's successful this year. Looking forward to chatting on the next episode next week when we're able to recap some of our picks and then also make picks for the following week. So appreciate everyone tuning in. Avery, thank you again, and we'll talk to everyone soon.